She didn't say she was upset. She didn't say we were struggling. She looked me in the eyes, steady and cold, and said the one word I never imagined hearing from the person I had built my life around. Despise. We were standing in the kitchen, the faint smell of burnt toast hanging in the air, arguing over something ridiculous. My failure to fix the dripping faucet, the endless trail of unfinished tasks. In the middle of her tirade, her face hardened and she delivered the blow. I don't just hate the things you do, she said flatly. I despise you. The air went out of the room. My chest locked up, my ears roared, and I felt like the floor had vanished beneath me. 10 years of marriage, birthdays, quiet nights on the couch, anniversaries. All of it seemed crumbled into dust with that single word. I grabbed my jacket and keys, hands trembling so badly I dropped them twice before I shoved them into my pocket. I didn't even know where I was going. I just had to escape that suffocating room. As I reached the door, I heard a whisper behind me. Meet me outside. It wasn't my wife's voice. It was Rachel's, her best friend, who had stopped by earlier and been trapped in the corner through the whole ugly exchange. My wife stormed off and slammed the bedroom door. Rachel slipped out quietly through the back. Confused, I followed. The night air hit me like ice. Rachel leaned against her car, arms crossed, face unreadable. She shouldn't have said that, she murmured. I gave a hollow laugh. She said it. Maybe she meant it. Rachel shook her head. She wanted to wound you, but that, she hesitated, that was too far. I pressed my palms into my eyes, fighting the sting. She despises me, Rachel. Do you know what it feels like to hear the person you gave your life to say you're worthless? Her gaze softened. I've known her for years. When she feels cornered, she lashes out. But that doesn't make her words true. For weeks, months even, I've been drowning in her criticism. The jabs disguised as jokes, the sighs heavy with disappointment. I had started to believe I deserved it, that maybe I was the failure she saw me as. But Rachel's quiet insistence cracked something inside me. We stood in silence, listening to the hum of distant traffic, the chirp of crickets. Finally, Rachel spoke again. You don't deserve to be treated like this. I turned toward her. There was something in her expression, something more than pity, a kind of recognition, as though she'd seen the truth long before I had. Why are you telling me this? I asked. She exhaled slowly. Because someone needs to. That night, we drove aimlessly, headlights carving through the dark. I poured out everything I had been carrying. The coldness, the loneliness, the feeling of being invisible in my own home. Rachel listened without judgment, without interruption. When I finally ran out of words, she said quietly, You're not invisible. You're not unworthy. You're just with someone who forgot how to see you. Her words settled in me like a fragile seed. In the days that followed, Rachel checked in. A short text, you okay? A knock on the door with coffee in hand. My wife barely noticed. She had what she wanted, me subdued, silent, dissolving into the background. But Rachel refused to let me disappear. One night, after another vicious fight, where my wife called me a burden, Rachel appeared again. She waited until my wife disappeared upstairs, then pulled me aside. You can't keep living like this, she said firmly. She won't change, but you can. I wanted to argue, to cling to the idea that marriage meant pushing through the hard times. But deep down I knew we weren't pushing through anything. She was just pushing me down. Then Rachel whispered again, the same words from that first night. Meet me outside. And I did. We sat in her car, the silence thick, with everything unspoken. Finally, she turned to me. I've always admired you, she said. Your work ethic, your kindness. She used to brag about how lucky she was. But somewhere along the way, she forgot. I swallowed hard. And you? Rachel held my gaze. I didn't forget. Something shifted then. Not a reckless spark, not betrayal, but an undeniable truth. Rachel saw me. She valued me. She believed in me when I couldn't. And that realization changed everything. It no longer mattered that my wife despised me. Her words reflected her, not me. What mattered was that I wasn't alone, that I still had worth, even if the person I had vowed my life to refused to see it. The marriage couldn't survive. Once the word despise is spoken, it doesn't fade with apologies. It festers until nothing is left. But walking away wasn't an ending. It was the start of something new. Rachel never tried to replace what I had lost. She helped me rebuild what I had forgotten. My dignity, my confidence, the belief that I deserved love without conditions. Looking back now, I understand. The words that reshaped my life weren't the ones hurled like daggers. They were the ones whispered gently in the dark. Meet me outside. Because those words pulled me out of the shadows, out of the prison my home had become, away from belief that being despised was something I had to endure, and into a life where I was finally seen.